turning now to the Iraq War. John McCain says that the Democrats are wrong about wanting to set a deadline to pull out U.S. troops. Well, joining me now, we have two veterans who served in Iraq. They both agreed to fight in Iraq, but they disagree over whether the war is worth the cost now. And joining me once more, Mark Finelli and Jon Soltz. Welcome to both of you. Appreciate your time tonight.
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you. Let me ask you both to address this question, generally speaking. John, why don't you start? You guys have seen the poll numbers, how, pretty consistently most Americans are saying that they don't believe overall it was worth it. And you two, regardless of how you feel about it now, have more invested personally in this than any of us. Do you believe now, now that we've passed yet another difficult milestone for the country, reaching 4,000 dead servicemen in Iraq, do you believe it's worth it?
Well, I mean, I can sit here and tell you that people in the military feel, percentage-wise, just like the American public, because we're representative of the society. We have African Americans, Latinos, males, females, all in the military. So I think that, when you have 4,000 dead troops, and a lot of people that I know, and I'm sure that Mark knows, you want something for that sacrifice. And what we have right now with Senator McCain and President Bush is a policy of retreat against Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan at the expense of keeping American troops stuck in a bloody civil war where basically they're beholden to the domestic politics of a foreign country, and that is not acceptable. And I think if the 4,000 deaths means anything, it's a time we reevaluate our strategy to go on the offense and really apprehend the people that attacked our country.
Mark?
As someone who was actually a survivor of September 11th, I was on the 61st floor of the South Tower. The reason I joined, I ran out of the building, jumped over innocent, slain American citizens, and I joined the Marine Corps, and lost my friends in Iraq just like John did. I could tell you with complete certainty, as a September 11th survivor and an Iraqi veteran, this war and the 4,000 heroes who have died, it is completely worth it because we've had 0 attacks since then.
But the war in Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11, and Saddam Hussein didn't. And every national intelligence estimate, every major investigation into the war, it's a completely fabricated. I believed in the war too, but I went for weapons of mass destruction, and they just weren't there. And our soldiers, this administration, they have never been honest with the American public.
Well,
they had one reason for war, and that was
John,
everything.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I want to be forward-looking and not rehash the Bush administration on this. But, John, I want to ask you, as someone who is opposed to the war now, both of these Democratic frontrunners say they want to begin withdrawing troops within 60 days of being elected, whoever the president may be. I mean, as a soldier, as somebody who knows what it's like there, what do you think is going to happen when that process begins? What do you think is going to happen on the ground in Iraq?
I think that depends on how you do it, and I think that depends on the diplomacy that would be involved in a new administration. We have no credibility in the world. I mean, we're having problems in Afghanistan right now with our NATO allies even completing their missions because the president's domestic popularity in these foreign countries is so low that they won't support us. So it depends. If you deal with the Israeli-Palestinian situation, if you want to start dealing with Iran, who's supporting the Shia militias, and for some reason John McCain doesn't understand that, or if you want to start dealing with the Syrians and you want to start looking at this from a regional diplomatic situation, if you can get some type of stable regional agreement, it could, be okay. I think the key thing about Senator Obama and Senator Clinton is that they don't offer a plan to leave Iraq. They offer a plan for victory against bin Laden, which is a refocus of troop assets. I mean, if you had just taken the surge brigades, which are the 5 brigades in Baghdad, and you'd put them in Afghanistan, you would have doubled American force structure in Afghanistan. You would have doubled the troop levels.
Let me go to Mark. Let me ask you. Senator John McCain had said that we could be in Iraq for 100 years, and he's since tempered those comments a little bit. But what's realistic? I mean, what do you say to the American people? If we stay there, how long would it really be?
Well, it probably won't be 100 years, but what I can tell you is history doesn't lie. Every time we go to war someplace and we keep a contingent of troops there, you notice that the war kind of ends. Germany, Japan, Korea, yes, you have a minor skirmish, a couple of rounds flying over the DMZ here and there, but this is a proven way of bringing peace. Europe is not at war anymore. Japan, Imperial Japan, it's done. Iraq is the geopolitical linchpin of the region. It borders 7 different countries. And if John wants to talk about Syria and Iran and all these other countries, if you haven't noticed, okay, Iran is bracketed because we have troops in Afghanistan and in Iraq. Pakistan, a nuclear power, is bracketed because we have troops in Afghanistan and India.
The biggest victor of the George Bush war policy in Iraq has been Iran. I mean, they have two very strong Shia militias now in Iraq. They have, obviously, are in a situation of severe influence in Iraq because of the amount of supplies they put in there, and their militias are in there.
All right, guys,
So
we got
Now Saudis retired essentially now too.
All
Don't
right.
forget that.
We got to end it there, but appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
John Soltz and
Thanks.
Mark Finelli.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.